Hey everybody, JCB here at the Awesomist. You're watching the Awesomist Travel Vlog. Welcome to part 3 of my Six Flags Texas adventure. If you haven't seen parts 1 and 2, you can find part 1 in the link down in the description below, and part 2 at the end of this video. Now where we last left off, we were actually getting on a plane to head to San Antonio, Texas. Our flight left at about 6:30 a.m. and we were in San Antonio an hour later. We are now in the San Antonio airport. We then took a shuttle bus to the rental car place and we ended up getting a Toyota Camry, and I gotta say we were hoping for another Nissan Juke, but the Camry was fine. As for the hotel, it wasn't quite as close as the Ranger Inn was to Six Flags over Texas, but it was still pretty close, about 10-15 minutes away. We stayed at the Hojo's and this is what the room looked like. Again, nothing amazing, but still head and shoulders above the Ranger Inn. So after checking in, taking a quick nap, and getting some lunch, we headed over to the park. I have to say right off the bat that Six Flags Fiesta Texas is absolutely beautiful. The entire park is built inside an old limestone quarry. Even though it was the afternoon, the park was actually pretty empty. So today is June 27th and exactly 2 years to the day since we got married. And if you don't know already, we already have a plan to visit a new Six Flags theme park every year for our anniversary. And so this year, it is Six Flags Fiesta Texas. Take a look around everywhere here. Yeah. So we went to Six Flags over Texas yesterday and the day before, but that didn't really count as a new Six Flags park because we had already been there like 3 years ago, just before we were married, just going to check it out. But we went again anyway because we wanted to. And this is the new Six Flags park for us for this year. So we're gonna check it out. When you first enter the park, you'll find yourself in Los Fiestivals, a Mexican-themed area of the park. Here you'll find 2 theaters, some shopping, and a sit-down restaurant called La Cantina. The skyline is dominated by the ride Goliath, which Six Flags Magic Mountain fans will immediately recognize as Batman the Ride. In general, we try to stay away from rides that are exact duplicates of rides we've been on a million times before, which is actually why we skipped Titan at Six Flags over Texas. We just prefer to spend our time on new ride experiences. So we decided to check out Poltergeist. First ride of the day, we're gonna check out Poltergeist. The exterior of the ride is made to look like an old haunted mansion. A park called Kings Island has a similar coaster built by the same company, which I have not yet ridden, but I hear is completely indoors. I can't help but wonder if Six Flags Fiesta Texas was planning to do the same thing here, but found the cost of constructing a giant building to house this spaghetti bowl coaster just too high. Even at the front of the line queue, it's meant to look like an old mansion with pictures of creepy children. But it was a surprise limb launch that scared my wife. For the most part, we love launched coasters, but she was definitely having doubts about this one. The entire ride takes place in a spaghetti bowl of a track, just a tangled mess of inversions and corkscrews. The ride restraints and train car actually remind me of the same setup as Mr. Freeze. One of my favorite sections of this park is called Rockville. It's themed like a 1950s town, complete with stoplights and diners. It's reminiscent of Cars Land at California Adventure. In the corner of Rockville is Rockville High, a high school themed theater that looks like it's begging to be used as a movie location. In addition to Poltergeist, you also find lots of shopping locations, Scream, which is a tower launch ride like Superman at Six Flags over Texas, plus Pete's Eats, Primo's Pizzeria, the Soaring Eagle Zipline, and the second ride we rode that day, Batman the Ride. Our second ride of the day today is... Batman. You gotta go Batman. Batman.
Wonder Woman.
Batman the Ride is an S&S 4D free spin coaster. It was actually the first S&S free spin at any Six Flags park before they started putting them everywhere. The entrance to the ride is cool because it looks like a shop, but inside it's clearly not. Here you'll see this cool 3D hologram of the train car, and right out the back door of this building is where the bulk of the line queue is. Out here you'll see this beefed up version of the Batmobile. Now you probably noticed this is exactly the same as Joker from Six Flags over Texas, and you're right. This too is an S&S free flying coaster, similar at first glance to Green Lantern's First Flight at Magic Mountain. though I have to say Batman's design is far smoother, with the flips much less abrupt and violent than Green Lantern. There's also a box full of busted phones that have fallen from this ride. I feel like they need to put one of these in every ride queue. Another section of the park is called Spazz and is designed to look like an old German village. It also features the kiddie section called Kidsopolis, and here you will find the Skyscreamer, Bugs Bunny Whitewater Rapids, and Superman Krypton Coaster. Regulars to Six Flags Magic Mountain will immediately recognize this ride as a duplicate of Scream, but this ride actually predates Scream by a few years and has a few key differences. First off, the main loop of the ride is 145 feet tall, which was the tallest loop of a roller coaster until Full Throttle opened at Magic Mountain. It's also custom built into the quarry wall, adding some rather unique dives and just enough variation to make it worth experiencing firsthand. It's also a bit faster and obviously larger than Scream, though if you're not a fan of Scream, you can skip it. So we just went on Superman's Krypton Coaster, and it's basically just Scream. A pretty Scream, with the smoother track. CrackaKing Canyon is an area of the park themed like a 1920s mining town. It features 2 theater venues, as well as a few places to grab food, such as Bubba's and Canyon Smokehouse. It's also home of the Goalie Washer, which is similar to Roaring Rapids. Can't get over how beautiful this place is. Gorgeous. But the crown jewel of CrackaKing Canyon is without a doubt Iron Rattler.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No, no, no.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh Lord.
I was almost straight down. Iron Rattler is another RMC conversion of an old Woody named, you guessed it, Rattler. This was by far my favorite ride at Six Flags Fiesta Texas, and thankfully the park was so slow that day that we actually rode it twice. Once in the very front seat, which I highly recommend, and once in the very back seat, which is a bit more violent and not quite as enjoyable for my wife and I. But overall, it's a really fun ride and one of the best RMC conversions I've ever been on. Next up was a Roadrunner Express. When I first said I wanted to ride this ride, my wife was skeptical, but in fairness to her, this is what the Roadrunner Express looks like at Magic Mountain. Meanwhile, at Six Flags Fiesta Texas, it looks like this. So we're about to go on Roadrunner Express at Six Flags Fiesta Texas. It's a little more intense than the one at Magic Mountain, I think. Next we headed to Fiesta Bay Boardwalk, which for some reason still had a Holiday in the Park photo backdrop up. In June. Very odd. This might be my thumbnail. The Fiesta Bay Boardwalk is themed like, well, you guessed it, a boardwalk. Here you will find lots of typical boardwalk attractions, like a Ferris wheel, a fireball, there's Hurricane Force 5, Spinsanity, as well as a go-kart track, and Pandemonium, which is a fun ride, but we had just ridden it at Six Flags over Texas the day before. There's also ScoobyDoo Ghost Blasters. This is a point-and-shoot dark ride similar to the Buzz Lightyear ride at Disneyland. There are no big screens or 3D glasses like the Justice League ride, just some targets and you have to shoot them. This is actually a Scooby-Doo re-theme of a Sally Corporation dark ride that appears at many different theme parks and freeway fun fairs all over the United States. If you're like me and you live in California, but you want to ride this ride, you can check out a non-Scooby-Doo version closer to home at Castle Park in Riverside, California. That seems like a good place to stop this video before it gets way too long. Be sure to check out the video next week when we explore the water park side of Fiesta Texas and also some other parts of the state of Texas. As always, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe as I release new videos every week. And until next time, keep being awesome. 87 degrees at 3:31 p.m. in Arlington, and it feels a lot hotter. When we left our hometown, it was 110 degrees, and it didn't feel quite this warm. So the humidity definitely makes a difference.